Hi, it's Ms. Garciacruz, and today we're going to read the first half of Memorials and Historic Buildings by Margaret McNamara. All right, take a look at the pictures. We see some buildings and some statues. Memorials and Historic Buildings by Margaret McNamara. Table of contents. Okay, this tells us what is in the book, what we will read about. Words to think about is on page 2. Introduction is on page 4. Chapter 1, Memorials to Presidents. Chapter 2, Memorials to Brave Citizens. When you hear the word memorial, I want you to think of memory and remember. So these are places or statues to remember people, presidents or citizens. People are brave people in a country. And chapter 3, historic buildings. Okay, that's on page 12. Conclusion, page 14, and the glossary and index are on page 16. Words to think about: citizens, Congress, historic. Citizens are people of a country. Some buildings and statues honor great citizens. So these were some people that are part of the United States, and they're being honored with this statue, these statues. Congress has senators and representatives from each state. So all these people are leaders from each of the states in the United States, and they come together to make up the Congress. So these people are the Congress. The Betsy Ross House is a historic building. Okay, historic. Think of the word history. So this is an old building in which something important happened. So it's historic. It's old and it's important. Memorial, Minutemen, and President. A memorial could be a statue or a place. This memorial honors Benjamin Franklin. So it's a statue of Benjamin Franklin, and it is there to help people remember him for what he did. Minutemen. Minutemen were soldiers in the American Revolution. Minutemen were soldiers. President. Abraham Lincoln was an American president, and the president is the leader of a country. Introduction. A memorial helps us remember the past. A memorial is a building or structure that honors important people and events. So this arch right here is the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is a memorial to pioneers who traveled west. So this arch is not a building, but it is there to help people remember the pioneers. And that's these people here that traveled from the east to the west with their wagons and their horses, and they went to the west toward us in California in search of a better place. Here it is, we see the Independence Hall, which is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And this building is important because the Declaration of Independence was signed here about 250 years ago. So a very important paper called the Declaration of Independence that you see here was signed in this building. A historic building is notable and important. A historic building helps us learn about our country's past. So if you go to Independence Hall, you would see it's set up like a museum, and you would go in and they would have information about this Declaration of Independence that was signed here. So it is there for people to come and learn about the country's past. All right, chapter 1, Memorials to Presidents. Mount Rushmore is a memorial to honor 4 presidents or leaders of the United States. Here we see number 1, George Washington, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now, I can recognize George Washington and Abraham Lincoln really quickly because they are very famous presidents, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. But if you do not know these other 2 people, their names are right here. Thomas Jefferson is number 2, and number 3 is Theodore Roosevelt. So the Mount Rushmore statues, they have the 4 presidents, or 4 of the presidents. Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota. Workers carved the faces of the presidents into the side of the mountain. Each face is about 18 meters or 60 feet long. Okay, so from here to here, 60 feet long. Pretty cool. All right, here we go. Chapter 1, continued. These presidents also have memorials in Washington, D.C. All right, let me get my writing tool here. George Washington was the first president. And so he has this one, the Washington Monument. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Let me see, that was number 1. Thomas Jefferson has this memorial, Jefferson Memorial. Abraham Lincoln freed many enslaved people and kept the country united. He has his Lincoln Memorial, which is, this is the statue that's right behind here. And Theodore Roosevelt helped to preserve our nation's parks and forests. And so this small picture here, this one is the Theodore Roosevelt Memorial in Washington, D.C. So this is number 4. Number 3. All right, so I like how this chapter is organized. It tells you about the 4 presidents that you saw. Let me clear that you saw in the previous page here. And then it shows you another memorial for each of the presidents. So that's pretty interesting. Nations Park. Oops. And chapter 2, memorials to brave citizens. Now, if you noticed, all of these were for presidents, and these memorials are for other people, not presidents. So citizens, brave citizens, like this one. This is a statue of Minutemen, okay? So it says the Minutemen statue is in Lexington, Massachusetts. And here's a drawing of what the revolution might have looked like. The Minutemen fought during the American Revolutionary War. These citizens were ready to fight the British in a minute. A statue honors these soldiers right here. So they were regular people and they became soldiers. And so that's why they became important in the history of the United States. More than 150 years ago, brave men fought and died in the Alamo. The men fought for independence or freedom, the freedom of Texas. A statue honors these men right here. The Alamo Monument and the Alamo Mission are in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, that's chapter 2. Trying to stop the recording.